Feel around the roses, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall dead.
My name is Stephen Ercantello, founder and lead investigator of Superior Paranormal. My first encounter with spirits occurred when I was a teenager living in Fort Myers, Florida. As of recent, I've decided to fully dedicate myself to the paranormal, uncovering a passion within that I now breathe, sleep, and live for. Not only am I here to share my stories from personal experiences and documented experiences, but also to hear, share, and understand your encounters, adventures, and paranormal events. So follow me as we discuss theories, opinions, facts, and the experiences of others as they share their superior paranormal events. Okay. Hello and welcome back to Superior Paranormal Events. Tonight, thank you. Starting out for everybody who's tuning in right now, everybody who's in chat, and all the support on Facebook with the questions and whatnot. So right now I am here with Brock MORIN. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And he is the owner of paranormaldepot.com, which is an actual, it's an amazing website. My team, Superior Paranormal, is part of it, as well as hundreds and hundreds of other teams. It's really an amazing website. Brock will talk about it a little bit more. And as well as him being are you the founder, lead investigator of what?
Co-founder with Robert Meager. Yeah.
Co-founder of Sin City
Paranormal
Research.
Correct.
Nice. And that is based in Vegas?
Correct.
Awesome. So how about you just tell us a little bit more about the Sin City Paranormal Research and kind of how you got started about all that?
Well, it's kind of interesting how the group got started. It was through my actual job. I was at a delivery, and the manager, which is Robert, at this particular location, we just started talking, waiting for the system to load up so we can get checked. I can get checked in. And I was telling him about how I was excited about my website. You know, I'm into the paranormal. And he's like, "You're into the paranormal?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I'm into the paranormal." And that was it. We clicked from there. All we did was talk about the paranormal world. And we talked about how we should get together because he talked about wanting to have a team. And I talked about how I wanted to have a team. And so we just got together and we started going over stuff. And next thing you know, we just clicked. Just like that. So we just been going over stuff, and we started in November, and we've had 2 investigations together. So it's been a neat experience how it was meant to be, for the team, how I was meant to meet him for us to form this, because he's a great guy. He's great to work with. His name is Robert Meager. So just one thing led to another, and we've both just been on board and just taking off with it and doing the best we can with it.
That's actually pretty awesome. So have you, that's kind of like the best way to really just go about it. You know what I mean? Just communicate, talk, bam, make it happen instead of looking, it sounds like it just kind of fell together a little bit.
Yeah. What are the chances that I meet this guy? And, I said, "Hey, Robert, my name's Brock." And we just started chit chatting a little bit. And I was telling him how I was excited about my website. And I asked him if he was into the paranormal. I think I asked him if he was into the paranormal because I had a website, paranormaldepot.com. And he's like, "Yeah." And he was telling me how he loved the paranormal. And like I said, just one thing led to another. He's from California. He had a team out there, and he moved out here, and now he doesn't have a team or anything. So I told him I would love for us to get together and let's form a team and let's do this. Mm-hmm. And like I said, one thing's just led to another, to where it's been an amazing ride so far.
Nice. So have you been on a lot of investigations already then as the team itself, as Sin City Paranormal Research?
Like I said, we started in November, and we've had 2 investigations together. It's basically our time frame between the 2 of us when we can get together to go on investigations. Recently in December, when I got back from California, we went to the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs, Nevada. Mm-hmm. We teamed up with L&D Paranormal Seekers, which is what Linda, a friend of mine, is part of. We teamed up there, and we were able to capture some amazing, audio, and we were able to hear some stuff and see some stuff that happened in that investigation, which I thought was phenomenal. And Linda, a friend of mine, I mean, she can attest to some of the things that had happened there as well.
So what exactly happened? Can you explain like some of the crazy things that happened?
Okay, well, this is a saloon that's been around since the early 1900s, if
Mm-hmm.
not, I think it was the late 1890s. The story has it that there was this gentleman named Paul, and he got shot there. It has been confirmed that he did get shot there, and he got killed for cheating, for playing poker. He was a really good cheat, and he was constantly winning. And I guess one guy fed up with it, and he decided he was going to shoot him. So his body laid there for at least, I think they said it was a good 10 hours before somebody was able to come and meet him, because this is out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
To get from Las Vegas to Good Springs, I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere.
So it's just all desert.
It's desert. Everything around is desert compared to this little saloon and the general store that's next to it. There's nothing around. So you see bullet holes in the wall from where the table was sitting and where he got shot. There are bullet holes in the wall. During the investigation, we some of the things that had happened, we were playing cards with him. He loved to play cards, as I had mentioned. So
Mm-hmm.
we were sitting there playing cards, and we had his cards down on the table, and so nobody saw him or anything like that. And we had our spirit box, and we asked him, do you need cards? How many cards do you need, Paul? What do you need? And you hear him come through the spirit box, said fold. And then when we looked up at his cards, I mean, he had a complete crap hand. So it was like it really coincided with what he had.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a word that came out. Then a couple minutes later, we were asking again about people who needed cards, and we asked him, like, Paul, how many cards do you need? And he had said 3 through the spirit box. Well, we turned over his cards. He had 2 kings, and he had, like, I don't know, like a 7 and like a 4 and a 2 or something like that. But it was coincided perfect with what he needed, which I thought was really, really awesome that we had this there with us. He was playing with us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when Linda and I had gone into the other room, which is now like the dining room area, we were sitting there in the dark, and we had the EVP recorder going, and we were just sitting there asking if there was anybody with us. If, could you please make a sign? Can you tell us, knock or do something to let us know you're with us? And we felt, or not, excuse me, I'm gonna take that back because it's very correct. You got to be careful how you word things. But
You really
it
do.
wasn't we? You do.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that we felt. We heard something like ping against the wall.
Linda's really excited in chat right now that you're talking about her and involving her.
Well, she is. She's a very good person.
Yeah.
Now she's very nice. Her team is extraordinary. L&D Paranormal Seekers, great group, very professional. Like I said, her and I were sitting there at the table, and we were asking, if anybody was with us, and we heard this like little ping, like something had hit against the wall, and we were like, okay, well, thank you for letting us know you're here. Can you please, I said, Paul, if this is you, can you please let us know that if that is you that made that sign? So we heard another ping. It was against the other wall. So we were really anxious. I think we heard one more ping, but her and I definitely heard it. I mean, it was like a little pebble
Mm-hmm.
that it hit. That's what the sound sounded like when you heard it. Um, as far as the EVP, I haven't gone over the evidence as far as listening to that EVP yet. If we captured anything with that, when we went back in, her and I decided to go back in the other room because it got quiet after that. Nothing really happened. So we decided to go back in the other room, and I came up with the idea. I had trigger objects in my pocket, and I decided, we're talking about a saloon where there's drinking and there's plenty of smoking going on back in those days.
Yeah.
So I had cigarettes on me, and I wanted to use that as a trigger object. So I put one up by the ashtray and left some matches, and we had a bottle. I want to say it was whiskey. I think it was whiskey we had there in a shot glass.
Mm-hmm.
And, I said, hey, Paul, if you're here, drinks are on me. If you like tobacco, I got tobacco here for you. Here's some matches. And then I walked away, and then the REM pod went crazy. And then
After you walked away, it went crazy.
yeah, after I walked away, I turned around, and it went crazy for just a couple seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other end of the bar, you saw Linda's teams. It went crazy for a split second, but then that was it. After that, nothing really, happened after that. So we took a break for a moment, and I went outside, and Jill had followed me. We were out there, or she was walking back and forth, and I asked her to come over to me. That's what it was. And so we're standing there, and I started hearing Indian drums, and I said, "Do you hear that?" And she was like, "Oh my God, that's the first time I've never heard that before." And there's no Indian reservations or anything around. I mean, it's complete desert.
Mhm.
So I'm standing there having a cigarette, and she comes over to me to hear it, and we hear it again. You hear these Indian drums in the distance, just completely just playing out of the norm. And she had stated, they do many investigations there, and that was the first time she'd ever heard that. I mean, that was the first time I've ever heard, as far as an Indian residual, as far as like drums and everything like
Yeah.
that.
Now, do you think that was a residual haunting, or do you think it was something really going down right then and there?
I don't think it was something live or something real going on. It was really rainy that night,
Hmm.
um, compared for being in Vegas. I mean, it was rainy. And then it was really cold. So like I said, it's desert. There is absolutely nothing around whatsoever. And it was off in the distance, but I would say that I don't think there was anything going on.
Yeah, not a lot of people just walk around doing that anymore. Anyways, it's not the or 1800s or whatever. So
Very true.
we're getting in the desert with drums on a rainy
And
night.
on a rainy night, and it was really late. So, I mean,
Hello,
you there?
I am here.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we definitely heard it. As far as that goes, I mean, there wasn't a couple of really much of anything else that really went on unless we listened to the EVPs to find out what we had really captured through the EVPs. But it was a phenomenal night. I mean, I'm very thankful they let our team in to do the investigation there. It was a great time. We had a great time with them, and hopefully we can go back and do it again another night with that team. They were phenomenal.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super awesome. Now, do you have any investigations coming up for 2016? Anything planned or anywhere that you're kind of wanting to book?
Well, I know Robert and I are looking into going up to Pioche. There's a saloon there called the Overland Saloon, and Linda actually has been there. Apparently, room 10 is haunted at this saloon. It's from the 1800s. They still have the post out front from when they used to tie the horses up. Everything is completely preserved from when it was back in the day. The whole town is still stuck in like the 1800s. They have the old opera house
Hmm.
still preserved from when the miners and everybody was there and the cowboys were there.
It's not an active town though, is it? It's not. There's nobody living there, right? It's
Oh
just
no,
an in town.
it's an active town.
Oh,
Everybody, they live around it. I mean,
okay.
as far as what they do for jobs and this and that, I really can't tell you because this town is in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
But it is an active town. It's built around the old Western style towns, as there's houses built all around this one strip. So you can see like the old Chamber of Commerce building that was back in that day, the Opera House. There's a few saloons that are there. I mean, it's a phenomenal, neat town if you love history. And as far as like the saloon and Wild West, it would be great for paranormal. So Linda had suggested that to us. So I know that's something we're going to be booking here in the near future. So we're going to go up there and check that out for an investigation. I know there's a couple of other places that we are looking into right now. Some are just, local, just for us, him and I to do, as far as like the cemetery where Red Fox is buried. We definitely want to go and check that out just to see what's going on there because there's been reports of paranormal activity going on in there.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's Red Fox from the Sanford Sun. He is buried there, but I'm not saying it's him. But you never know. So we're definitely going to go and check that out. We definitely have some other places that we're looking into right now. I don't want to say for sure because if we don't get them, I don't want to get the hopes up for that. But we're looking into trying to book a few more. So we definitely have some stuff lined up for us to definitely keep us busy throughout the year for some investigations.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love being busy. I love staying busy with it. I hate whenever I get an investigation, and then I'm sitting on my hands for 2 months just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. That drives me crazy.
I know it drives you nuts because you want to get involved. You want to do it. You want to do it
Mhm.
every night.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. I mean, I love the paranormal world. And that's one of the reasons why I started the paranormaldepot.com website because
Can you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's actually a question on Facebook from Darby. She was mentioning the site. She actually said that I want to know more about the site. Can you explain how it works? So I guess now would be a perfect time.
okay, Paranormal Depot. I designed this site for all the teams, authors, radio stations, mediums, stores. I designed it for them to give them exposure. The site is completely 100% free. I will never, ever charge anybody a dime for anything on that site. My passion for the paranormal world is I want everybody, we're all chasing the same thing. We are all chasing the same thing. So I want to give everybody as much exposure as possible. And on the other side of that, clients, people, potential people that have a haunting. You know, when you watch these shows, like, you know, for example, like the Dead Files, they tell you to contact a medium and do this or that. I want my site to be a one-stop shop for somebody that really, truly needs help. If they need a team, if they're living in a certain city, in a state, they can find a paranormal team. If they need a medium, there's a medium there. They can find everything they possibly need for this location that could be haunted. And it's like damaging this family, you know, because I have a lot of teams on there that are very professional. They're ready to go, and they want to just make it happen. And I want to be the one to help them because, like I said, we're all chasing the same thing. And I believe in all the teams that are out there, and I want to help all the teams by giving them more exposure and being there for them. So that's my main goal when it comes to the paranormaldepot.com, is just giving you guys as much exposure as possible, getting your name out there. And if there's people that need help, they can go there and find you really easy on the website. They can contact you, and that way you guys can set up something together for a possible investigation to help this family or person out.
And it is really a great website, like, because I know that you have Superior Paranormal on there from me being in Florida.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I have you on there in Florida, in your city. That way, if somebody is in the surrounding cities, if they're around like Inglewood, because you and I are from the same area.
Yeah.
If somebody's like around Inglewood or Port Charlotte, you know, if they're in Cape Coral or whatever, they know there's a team right there in Fort Myers, which is your team. They can go right to you and they can contact you from my website to say, hey, this is what might be going on. And you can, as professional as you are, because you have a great team and you are very professional when it comes to your work, and I love your work. That's why I know that they can count on you if they need to come to you. And it just gives me great satisfaction to know that I can help. You know, that way I can bridge these two together, a client and a team.
And it really is super easy to use. Like if anybody wants to log on, you know, paranormaldepot.com, and it's so well organized with mediums, books, paranormal teams, and then you click the state. You know, it really is. It's such an easy thing to use, and like you said, a one-stop shop. I mean, you can even go on and get you can buy paranormal equipment as well, because you have links for that from places all over.
Yeah, I have 4 stores that you can go to. Those. They're not my stores. They're team stores. If you need equipment, you can go to those guys. They're all super phenomenal, great prices. Like I said, and I got books. If you guys are interested in the paranormal books, I have authors on there that are promoting their books. I've read all of them, and I would suggest, you know, to all of you to read them because they're great, and the people behind it are absolutely phenomenal. And I back them. I would not back them if I didn't think that they were credible or if they were worth anything. But the people that are on there are very, very great, knowledgeable people in what they've experienced in their life. So you can definitely go to my site. You can buy stuff. You can look up mediums. You can look up books. You can look up teams. I have teams from all over the world. It's not just the United States. We have teams in Italy. We have teams in the Czech Republic, the United Kingdom. We have them in New Zealand and Australia. I mean, I'm excited about that. I want to get that more going as far as, you know, the countries that are outside of the United States. And I want to get them as much exposure as well, too.
Yeah, Linda and Colleen were just commenting or in chat about how they have their team represented with you on there. You know, Colleen from All Seeing Paranormal.
Yes, she is actually a phenomenal person. If you guys ever need anything that are in the Chicago area, she is definitely the team that I would suggest in a heartbeat. She's very professional, knows her stuff, and she does great work. And she would be right there to help you in any way she possibly can. And no matter when, she's up for it. She loves this stuff, and she's very dedicated, and she has a passion for it. So definitely, if you guys are in the Chicago area, look her up or the team.
Awesome. I know I'm gonna be moving to Fort Wayne in Indiana in a couple weeks, so I know that's pretty close to Chicago. You know, a few hours, I'm sure. So, you know, I definitely wouldn't mind connecting with someone like that then to go do some investigations with.
Oh, definitely. I think she would be up for it. I mean, she's always up for it. So, I mean, if you're in that area, you're not too far away. I'm sure she'd be right there to want to do some investigations with you for sure.
So here's another question. I got a question here from, what's the name? Linda. Not the Linda the other Linda. I don't want you to confuse that one with this one. So, not the Linda you know.
Okay.
I don't think it is anyways. Not the one you're talking about because she's in chat. Anyways, this individual, they said, what are some of his views on the paranormal with him being a newly formed team? example, orbs, Ouija boards, residual hauntings. So kind of just what's your whole entire just outlook on the paranormal with certain things like that?
Well, as far as just my personal opinion and my personal opinion alone, I truly believe in the afterlife. I believe in it 100% as far as the paranormal. As far as residual, I've experienced it. I've seen it. Um, as far as like orbs, I definitely believe in orbs 100%. And the good thing about orbs, they can be debunked, without a shadow of a doubt. If there's any question as far as insects or anything like that. Um, so as far as anything, I've been involved in the paranormal field for about 19 years. Even though I recently have a new team, I've been involved for 19 years. So I've experienced quite a bit in my lifetime as far as the paranormal. And I truly believe in it. And I believe as far as an investigator, you do have to go into every investigation. My personal opinion, I should say, I do believe you should go into every investigation with an open mind. Um, I'm not saying you should debunk every single thing right off the bat, but yes, you want to have that ability to be able to debunk something because you want to have 100% definite proof that it could be paranormal.
I
So,
agree.
so, so you definitely you don't want to go in and say, oh, that was paranormal, even though it's windy and the windows flap, and you don't want to say, oh, that's paranormal. You want to be able to see behind that, and you like kind of like test it to see what could possibly be going on. Is it windy outside? Is it rainy outside?
Hmm.
Why is the window flapping in and out? So I mean, I definitely I believe in a lot of that stuff. And as far as voices and all that, I believe it. If you and you got to make sure it's 100% authentic. If you can debunk it, that's fine. I mean, but if there is other inconclusive evidence that there's no reason why you can't debunk it, then you have to look at the paranormal experience if that's what it could be.
So some of my favorite buddies who are on TV, you know them pretty well. I know they're your favorite guys. Probably my least favorite. They do a lot of that non-debunking stuff. That I'm not going to mention who they are, but I think you know who I'm talking about. You
Yes,
watching them.
my
So
my favorite, Ghost Adventures.
yes.
Well, they do debunk some stuff, and when they do debunk it, they'll let it known that it's debunked.
Hmm.
I'm not. I won't. I know we won't go into whether stuff's fake or not fake
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
them, but
Everybody's opinion on that's like an endless conversation. We get.
yeah, very true. But they do stuff that is debunked, and I like that when they'll show it across the screen in red when it says debunked. I like that.
Hmm.
That they don't automatically say, "Oh, that was paranormal," they don't, or that was residual, or that was a voice, or somebody did that. I like the fact that they do that. Just like with taps, they go in there trying to debunk it, and if they can't debunk it, they at least listen for it to see if it can be authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you think this is from Linda as well, the same one that asked the question just recently? She says, have your views changed now that you are investigating?
No. And the reason why my views have not changed is because I want to stay the same person as I was before and after I actually had a team. I want to stay true to myself. Like I had said a minute ago, I go into every investigation with an open mind, that it could possibly not be paranormal, or that it could be paranormal. But I'm so in tune with what's happening in the moment. I don't try to listen for something. I hear something. If it happens, it happens. I want to let it flow. So far as my view goes, no, I stay true to myself, and I know Robert does too. As far as our team, we go into every investigation with an open mind, with the technology we have at hand and the new stuff that we're wanting to get. But no, I keep the same approach with every investigation I go into, and him and we go over questions way beforehand of stuff that we want to talk about, we want to ask. And that's something I've always done, and I know he's done that. So it's been great that we click together and we gel together with that. So no, my views have not changed. I think the paranormal world is moving forward in a great way with all the new technology that's coming out, and I'm hoping in the near future that there will be more answers, as far as portals and stuff like that, that we can get more answers in depth. But right now, it's just an amazing field, and it's something that I look forward to, and I love staying true to who I am and going into each investigation for who I am.
Dude, how wild would that be? Like if somebody actually captured a portal, like a legit portal on film.
That would be unreal.
Like you just literally see this crazy thing happening, and a spirit just walking right through it.
Now, see, to me, I would absolutely just love it, and I would embrace it, and I would just have a million questions because I'd be so excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the other side where people are going to be the naysayers, the doubters, the critics.
Yep.
And that part I leave out because I take it for what it is. And I would ask whoever caught it and captured it, I want to shake their hand. I want to meet them. You're the greatest person ever, because that's awesome evidence. But I would have so many questions for them, that it would be a great experience.
Yeah, you like wind up having more unanswered questions leaving an investigation than you did going in the investigation.
Yeah, I think that would be the hard part. I think we'd end up starting all over again because now we got a new set of questions for the ball game.
Yep, absolutely, yep. And then you got oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. What did we just talk about?
As far as portals,
you would man, my whole mind went blank. So anyways, if I come back to it, I guess I'll remember and come back to it.
okay.
But so what actually got? Oh no, here's the question. I remembered. Now, do you think, speaking of the portals, and you said you would shake their hand, right, if they captured something phenomenal like that? Now, do you believe that a person, certain individuals, I'm not talking about mediums or people with their third eye open or anything crazy like that, but people are more or less more haunted than an actual location? And by doing so many investigations, and the individuals themselves going into certain locations bring entities with them that collide or just like clash with other entities that are already there. For example, you go to a jail. You know how gang rivals and everything, right? East Coast, West Coast, blah, blah, blah. So say you go to a jail on the West Coast. You're inside a jail, you're investigating, you got all these ghosts, boom, boom, boom. One attaches themselves to you. Then you go to the other coast. Now you got this crazy ghost attached to you who's in one side. Then you go to the other coast. Do you think those spirits, and you'll be stuck right in the middle of it, of a spiritual battle between two spirits who were rivals at one point? Or they're on their turf, so you're stuck right there in a spiritual battle and you don't even know it.
I definitely believe that spirits can attach to you. I believe that 100%. And I believe, depending on what that, like you just said, depending on what type of spirit it may be, like a gang member that died, or an Old West, gunslinger, like say Billy the Kid, or whatever that spirit may be. And if it's in the environment that coincides with that spirit, I really think there can be some sort of hostile environment that could be created. It just depends on you when you go into the location before you go in, if you cleanse yourself before you go in. But if they cling on to you, and like, say, like you just said, for example, like if you had, I don't know, blood or crip or whatever they may be, an East Coast rival, and he latches himself onto you, like far as an entity, and you go to, like, say, the West Coast or wherever you may be, and you go to a different prison that's no longer active, as far as regular prisoners, there possibly could be some definite. I really believe that. I believe, it's energy. And I really believe that if you're bringing something in like that, it goes along the lines with like trigger objects.
It does. You're almost like your own. They're using you as a trigger object or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like you become a trigger object. And maybe that's why when people are getting scratched, when people are getting burned, when people are getting hurt, maybe it's not a demonic situation. Maybe you're just in the middle of a spiritual battle, and that spirit causing those markings on you is trying to hurt the spirit within you that's attached to you, not necessarily you. I don't know.
I agree. Yes and no. I think a lot of times, I think it's been proven a lot of times that when you get the 3 scratches, which is normally the sign for it, I believe they are trying to hurt you. I really believe they are trying to get to you. It's not necessarily the entity that might be with you. Because mostly kids are really susceptible to that. And a lot of adults have had that happen to them as well. It's been documented worldwide as far as the 3 markings. So I believe, my personal opinion, and I could be wrong, and I'd love people to tune in about it, to hear their opinions, but I think they're trying to get to you. They're trying to harm you when they do that. I don't necessarily think they're trying to harm the entity that's with you, and per se, when it comes to the markings. Because there's been so many innocent people that don't even do paranormal or into the paranormal or go to investigations that are getting scratched, that are getting hurt. Very true. So I really, truly believe it's towards you, as far as, that goes. So I can't say 100% if they are going towards the entity, but my own opinion, I really believe that they are trying to attack you.
Nice. And it's crazy because, like you said, in this field, it's opinions. This isn't a factual field. Everybody's always going to have their own opinions, their own theories. There's no reason to debate, argue about it and kill people over it. And
Very true.
and I think it'd be really cool if we can actually find hard facts on what we just talked about. Who are they trying to hurt? Is it another spirit? Is it you? Is it this? Is it that? You know, we really don't know. And it's one of those things where it leaves us with more unanswered questions.
You know, you just brought up a good point, and I'm glad you just said what you said because that is true. Are they trying to hurt you, or are they trying to hurt something that's around you? Because I mean, now that I think about it, because you and I had this conversation a while back when I disagreed on something you said, and then I turn around and be like, "Wait a minute, let me think about this for a second." Now I do agree with you because I thought about it and how it tied in.
Oh, that was on
They,
the radio show I think I did when you were.
oh yeah, I had listened to something you had said and I disagreed, and then I thought about it for a couple minutes. I'm like, you know what, that kind of ties in. So you know what, that could be true. I mean, there could be a spirit that might be around a certain person that they're not even aware of it. You never know. I mean, it's questions beyond questions that are answered in that are asked in this field and want answers, and we're all chasing after the same things when it comes to that.
Absolutely. That was good. I enjoyed that actual conversation right there. Linda from chat has a conversation. Your buddy Linda, the one you did the investigation with,
Okay.
she says, "What is your favorite ITC device?"
If I had to pick one device, I think actually, to be honest with you, my personal favorite is the spirit box
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
because I love the fact that you can hear it right then. And sometimes, I mean, they come through and they're answering your question. And that, let me just elaborate on that a little bit as far as an investigation I did with the spirit box. Me and Robert, we did an investigation at this gentleman's house. It was being haunted. Stuff with the fan was messing up. Things were, the blinds were getting hit, and everything else. And he wanted answers. So we went in there. The first time we went there, actually, we did 3 investigations. We did 2 at this one. The first time we went there, we asked it, you know, its name, and you could hear a high pitched little boy's note voice, and he kept saying, "Michael." And we're like, "Oh, that's awesome." Okay. We're like, you know, he kept we asked questions and he would answer every now and then. And then, it got to the point where I was like, wait a minute, you know, we kept hearing this thunk, and the next thing you know, the fan would mess up, and you'd hear this like, real high pitched it through the spirit box. That's why I love the spirit box. And I come, you know, as far as what I thought, not debunking it, from what I thought, he was bouncing this ball against the wall and it was hitting the fan. And that's what was making that thunk against the wall.
Oh,
And
that's
then,
fun.
and then you could hear the fan like jiggle a little bit, like something hit it when it was moving. And then you hear him like almost like he knew he messed up, like and like he knew he did something wrong. We would hear that,
Yeah.
and it was phenomenal. And come to find out, in that location, there was, from 1981 to 1989, there was a little boy that lived there. His name was Michael. He died when he was 6 years old. We found out what his last name was. We couldn't find out how he died. We kept asking him in the second investigation, but he never did confirm how he died. But in the second investigation, with the spirit box, going back to Linda's question, because I love the spirit box, we asked him, you know, to say his last name. And I don't want to say it over the air just for the sake of the family, you know, for their peace and everything. But he said his last name to a T in a kid's voice. And it's not an easy name to pronounce. It's an Italian last name. He said it.
Wow.
And he said it. And then the guy that lives there asked, you know, with the spirit box, going back to still staying on Linda's question, he had saw the shadow of the little, or he saw the little boy or the shadow of the little boy by the front door. And so we asked him, we were like, "Michael, was that you that Mike had saw?" And he said, "That was me." And I mean, plain as day. He's like, "That was me." And it was just the most phenomenal thing. And that's what I love about the spirit box, when you can ask a question and you can get a direct answer to that question. I mean, to me, my own personal opinion, it doesn't get better than that. But there are some ways it does get better. But to hear the voice, you know, when you ask a question and they answer it. We asked him how old he was, and he said he was 6. We asked him if he missed his mother and father, and he says, "Yeah." And you could hear it like in a really sad voice.
And this is all over the spirit box.
All over the spirit box. He came through so many times on the spirit box. I mean, it was phenomenal. It really was. And that's what I love about it, that it's real time, that you have the spirit box. You can hear it. You're also recording the video, so you can hear it. You can see it and hear it on video. But that's my favorite. I absolutely just love the spirit box.
What do you sweep the spirit box at? For those that don't kind of understand what a spirit box is, it basically scans through the radio frequency and a bunch of white noise at a very fast rate. So
Correct.
what do you scan it at?
That's a good question because Robert's always the one that holds it and does it.
Okay.
Uh,
No, yeah, no, it's no big deal. Like I usually do it about like 150 milliseconds, just so everybody tuning in, if you scan it that fast, that's actually 0.15 seconds. So scanning that fast, it's completely impossible to pick up any words, let alone a sentence, let alone anything, because you're scanning over what, like 8 to 10 different frequencies
yeah.
just to pick up one word. Now, that's completely impossible to do. That you're just defining science right there. So for that to happen is completely ridiculous, and it does validate, I think, a lot. I think the spirit box definitely validates a lot of factual proof.
Yeah, and as far as our equipment goes, I mean that's his baby. It's his spirit box. Mine's back in Florida in storage, but he that's his baby. So he messes with it, he calibrates it, he gets it all right to what it needs to do. I don't even try to learn it and be with him because he's never going to let me hold it. So I always do the EVP. I'll do the full spectrum video camera. So I'll do stuff like that off to the side, and I'll follow around in the rooms with just the EVP recorder. But
Right.
like I said, that's his baby. But it's something I truly love. And like you said, I mean, you hear things come through, and it's phenomenal because they answer you.
They do.
It's not like, and when they answer you, I mean, if you it ponders another question. I mean, you got to ask the question, well, how do they know that then? And how does this?
Mm.
But I mean, when they answer the question, when we asked him how old he was, and he said he was 6. Or I mean, we asked him his last name, and he said it in a kid's voice as plain as day.
Mm-hmm.
We asked him if he missed his parents, and he said it really sad, yeah, and we asked him if he knew he was dead, but he didn't answer that. He didn't answer that when we asked him if he knew he was dead.
Mm.
And I asked him, how did he die? And he didn't answer that either. As far as our investigation as the house, we were only able to uncover like names and their death and how old they were. We weren't able to figure out how they died or where they died. We just know he lived there up until he was 6 years old. His family lived there from 81 to 89, and he was 6 when he died. We just know that he did live there. Was a little boy named Michael that did live there.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So for Colleen has a question too here in chat. She says, this kind of goes back to the attachments we were talking about with the spirits. She asked, do you think you can protect yourself from attachments?
Yes, I truly want to. Once again, in my own personal opinion, I don't go off anybody else's. My own personal opinion, I do believe you can protect yourself. And I try to do that before I go into any investigation. I try to protect myself, do a cleansing, make sure that I'm right state of mind and I'm pure with it. And that way I don't allow it to happen. Because there are certain times when people will ask to let it happen. Like, for example, when Zach does on the show, he'll say, come and get me or this and that. Well, you're asking for trouble when you do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe you can protect yourself. I do believe there are certain situations or certain things you can do to make sure that you don't get attached to, that something doesn't attach to you. You just have to be in the right frame of mind to know to do that. If you go into an investigation blind and just go in, you're opening yourself up. They can drain your energy. They can make you sick. They can scratch you. They can do stuff to you, or they can toy with you. But you just have to have the right frame of mind, in my personal opinion, not anybody else's, that you want to be cleansed and you want to be protected before you go in.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely, I agree. I've never cleansed myself or done any type of.
I know you haven't. You use the Ouija board, so I know you don't do any type of cleansing. I can tell that.
Yeah, I just run in and do whatever. So completely reckless.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like for example, you got to be able to just a good example. Because you and I were talking about some things I wanted to talk about as far as past things that had happened to me.
Yeah.
Like I lived in this house in Daytona Beach. Never once did I cleanse myself. I knew the house was haunted. I knew there were spirits living in this house. I knew there were little kids that were in this house. But never once did I ever, cleanse myself before I went in the house. I just was like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in the shower, You could hear little kids playing in the living room. You could hear the wooden floor. It was an old style Victorian house. Let me describe that first. It was an old style Victorian house from the 1880s, 1890s is when it was built. They made it into apartments in this style home. Beautiful home. Um, but everything was still original and old. So the floors were still wood and this and that. So when you're in the shower, you're taking a shower, you can hear little kids stomping in the living room. You can hear them playing. You can hear them laughing. It's as plain as day. And if you're not used to it, it will freak you out. Uh, but it didn't freak me out. I mean, at first, when I first moved in, I was
Uh-huh.
like, what in the hell is that? But then I was like, oh, I got to check this out. So I take a shower and I'm like, here I am trying to shower and I'm listening. And you could hear them playing and jumping and laughing and giggling.
That's creepy.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Uh, I actually have a friend on Facebook, on my other Facebook, that witnessed something in that house with me. Her and I were sitting there watching movies, and the next thing you know, the refrigerator door opened, and then it slammed shut. She left. That's all I got to say. She saw it. She got freaked out. I looked at it. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I was like, neat. She got up and was gone. Didn't want no part of it. And to this day, she really doesn't really talk about it because it freaked her out. But I did convince her to come back over again one last time.
Hmm.
That was it. We're sitting there watching movies, and the garbage can started rattling, and it fell over. And she got up, and she let out a cuss words or two, and she was like, "Nope, I'm out." She's like, blah blah blah, beep. Can't say what she said, but she was gone. Never would she step foot in that house again. But I embraced it, as far as I would see stuff that would, like they would like to play jokes, and they would. My apartment was very small. The living room and kitchen were together in separate rooms, but together and small. And then it had a bedroom that was off to a door that closed the bedroom door to the living room, but it was small. So they would like to hide a shoe, and then you would ask spirits, please just give me my shoe back. I would look everywhere for this thing, and my apartment was small, and it would be in the living room floor in the middle of the floor when you finally go back in there. They would hide the remote underneath my bed in the bedroom.
This sounds like a really active location then.
It was very active. And this is the neat part about that house. At the end, something kept banging on my front door. I mean, my bedroom window was right facing the front door. And when you look out it, you see in every direction if somebody was going to hide or was faking or messing with you. They couldn't hide. You're going to see them regardless. Somebody would bang on my front door, wake me right up because I worked third shift at a time. So I'd get up, look out the window, there's nobody there. I go back to sleep and I would hear somebody just scream bloody murder saying my name really loud. Brock!
Oh, that's awesome.
I was awesome. And I would wake right up. And this would go on for like 2 months. Next thing you know, well, to make a long story short, I ended up moving out. And it wasn't because of that or anything like that. I love that. I found a better deal in a better house, a bigger place. And 4 months later, that house burnt down. It completely burned to a crisp. And to this day, it's a parking lot. There's no structure of a house whatsoever. I personally feel towards the end, the kids were gone. It was more of this screaming my name and pounding on the front door type thing. They were warning me. And I really truly believe that 100%. Because like I said, 4 months later, the house burned to a crisp. It was gone. And there's no telling if I would have been there when that happened, if I ignored it, if I didn't find this place. But I really honestly believe whatever it possibly was really just letting me know. That's why they kept trying to get my attention.
Hmm.
And I really believe that. Whether that was the case or not, I take it as that. And it was just a neat experience that I happened to have lived through. And I'm glad that it happened because I might not be here today. I could have burned up.
Mm. That just sounds extremely like that's an intense situation. Is that kind of what got you mainly involved into the paranormal? Like, what actually was at the start of getting you involved? I know you did mention to me, not during this interview, but about your dad.
Yeah, that I'm glad you brought that up. Um, all my life, I've actually had stuff happen to me, and it wasn't when I was growing up as a kid. The paranormal world really wasn't full out there. I mean, you were pretty much like Bigfoot. Oh, I seen a ghost. They're gonna think you were a quack when I was a little kid.
Hmm.
It really wasn't full tilt like it is today. When I was a kid, I mean, I had situations like something would yank the blankets right off of me when I'm sleeping. but I didn't get scared. I embraced it and I liked it. But going back to what really truly got my attention into the paranormal field was with my dad. My dad had died June 7th, 1997. Um, I was visiting Michigan. I didn't see my dad for 2 years. And the last time I saw him, he was in the hospital dying. Well, that Saturday he had died. I was staying at my brother's house, and I was laying on the couch, and it was the middle of summer. I sat up in the middle of the night, and I was just sitting there, and I was wide awake. And I said to myself, like, man, I cannot believe my dad just died. This is absolutely crazy. And I sat there for a minute in complete disbelief, and then I looked over, and I looked at the single chair, like almost like a recliner, and I saw my dad sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And how to describe it to you was, I mean, like I said, I didn't see my dad for 2 years, and this is why at the end of the story, I'll back it up to be able to validate it. I saw the outfit he was wearing, the cowboy hat he had on, and I know my dad's style of dressing. I know how he dressed, even though I didn't see him for 2 years. And
Yeah.
to see the body, it's hard to explain to you because it was almost like a shadow figure, but you could see an outline of fingers. You could see almost not complete outline of a face, but you could see the face was looking at you like you were on the couch. His hands were on the two side pieces where your arms would go, and he was staring at me. And without a doubt, I knew that was my dad because, like I said, I saw the outfit he had on. It
Mm-hmm.
was dim. I mean, it wasn't like the clothes like you and I have on today, but I could see it. It was really like faded, but you could see it.
Yeah, I get it. I do understand.
And I seen that, and at first, I wanted to scream. I wanted to scream bloody murder. I really, truly did because I wasn't prepared to see my dad die. He had just died like 5, 6 hours before that, if that. This was like 3 in the morning when I woke up. Like I said, he died at like 8:36 at night, and I saw this, and I was just like, at first I got, I wanted to scream and get upset, and then I sat there and I took it in, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm like, that's my dad. I started crying,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
and then after that I ran upstairs crying. I went to my brother and told him I just saw dad, blah blah blah, and he didn't believe me. My brother, he's not into that stuff, which is fine. And so the next day, when me and my two brothers went to my dad's house to split up my dad's belongings, there was the outfit hanging right there that I saw.
Oh, that's the one
That
that he was wearing.
the one he was wearing the night before I had seen him, the shadow of him I had
Mhm.
seen. And like I said, I didn't see my dad for 2 years. And the next day we're splitting up, all my dad's stuff, all three of us, to see that outfit and the cowboy hat, on the shelf. I lost it. And I was like, and I looked at my brother, and I'm not going to say the words I said, but I gave him a few choice words about, now you should believe me, because I was telling him, look, he was wearing this, he was wearing this, he was wearing
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and I was telling my brother that, and then the next day when we were at my dad's place, splitting up his stuff, there was the outfit, and I was like, you see, Steve, I'm telling you, there it is, and my brother, he had that look on his face like, oh my God, because he's not a believer in the paranormal at all.
Mm.
No way, shape, or form is there such thing as a ghost to my brother. And when he saw that, it was almost like, like a revelation for him. Like, no way, like I love that about people that don't believe in the paranormal. When something happens or when something's telling you, when he knows for a fact I didn't see my dad for 2 years or what my dad was wearing, but I knew his style.
Yeah.
I saw this outfit. And from that day forward, there was a couple other events that happened with my father after he passed away that I was 100% sold that it was going to be my mission in the paranormal field. I wanted answers. I wanted to see what was out there, who was out there, who can I help? I mean, I'm not a medium or a psychic. I would never claim to be.
Now, do you
I,
do you think I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, go ahead.
I
Go
didn't want
ahead.
to forget this question since you mentioned medium and psychics. Do you believe that the more you've been investigating and the deeper you get into this field that you have more abilities, like something just your sixth sense kind of just kicks in a little bit more?
That's a good question. And along those lines, I feel like you as an investigator, me as an investigator, and like Colleen and Linda and other people, the more you do investigations, the more you start becoming aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
The more you start becoming in tune. Like you, for example, like when you go to like one of these jails, you do the research behind it. You start being aware of the situation. Therefore, you would know what to pick up and what not to pick up because you're in tune with it,
Yes.
your vibes. I mean, I'm just guessing that because that's what I do. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly what you do or not, but you start picking up on things and you start sensing things. In a sense, I think you do, because I mean, wherever you're at, you do the research for that investigation, and you're gonna have a sense of a presence or a feeling. But not saying you're a psychic or not you in general, but not saying
Yeah.
you're a psychic or a medium or anything like that. But you start having this ability of being able to know your surroundings.
And you pick up on that feeling that you get, oh wow, I know there's a spirit here. I feel it. And then when you leave that investigation and you get home and you get that same feeling that you had then, it's almost like, okay, you're more in tune with that feeling. So you know that something paranormal may or may not be happening around you.
Very true, and that's one thing that I love about, like, for you example, because I think you do great work, and I follow everything you put on Facebook because I really believe you do phenomenal work in the
Thank you.
paranormal field.
Thank you.
Um,
I
I
get a lot of hate for it, so thank you.
I know you do, and I personally believe in you, and I don't care what anybody else says. I believe in you, and I love the work you do, and that's to bring up what we're talking about. Um, the stuff you do as far as when you go into these jails. I know you do the research beforehand. I know you're aware of what you're going into. Therefore, you put yourself in, not you, even you or me in general, you put yourself aware in the surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't go in blind. You know, some people do that, and that's fine. You know, hey, however you do your investigation, that's great. Like you and I, we go into investigation, we're aware of our surroundings, we're aware of what possibly could be there. And then when we know we sense something or we feel something or when we capture something, you know, there's like a validation for it. So there is a sense that, like you said, there is a sense of being in tune, of your surroundings or what possibly it is that you're in, you know, a jail or a psych ward, you know, or old hospital. You get in, once you start doing more investigations, I really truly believe you start becoming in tune with your surroundings of that location.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Are,
yeah, you just, yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, you kind of just took the words out of my mouth. Um, so I have a question here in chat. I was just kind of, or on Facebook, someone messaged me, just trying to get it pulled up here. This is from Darby again. She asked, what scares you about ghost hunting or paranormal investigations?
that
If
is
anything.
um, if I can, you and I had talked about this just the other night. And that is a great question, because I had something happen to me like 3 months ago, and it was the most terrifying experience that I've ever felt in my life, and I don't wish this upon anybody. But before I get to that, the paranormal world itself, um, nothing pretty much scares me because I am open it and I'm embraced for it and I'm ready for it, good or bad. I know something is either going to be good or something's going to be bad, could possibly be present. So I keep myself open, you know, for that, to brace myself, you know, just in case. Um, but just to share an example, that's something that happened to me 3 months ago, and this was actually completely terrifying. It started off funny, then within seconds it turned into something completely horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I was sleeping, and I had a dream. This is the funny part. Me and Nick Groff were doing an investigation together.
This is a dream, right?
Yeah, this is a dream.
Okay,
This is
okay,
what happened to me, and this is in my dream that happened.
okay.
The first part of it, Nick Groff and I were doing an investigation, and the setting was something like Central Park area, like a park type deal. Well, I decided I wanted to take a nap on a bench, and he was going to take a nap on another part of the bench. And that's where the funny part kind of ended. I heard something walking with a foot scraping, walking with a foot scraping. Automatically, I was completely 100% terrified. And I was like, okay, I'm going to roll over. I was still asleep. I was in a dream within a dream. And that was the craziest part, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about on that one. Yeah, I do wish we could explain that more to the viewers because that's very hard to explain. But I do
It's
think
very hard.
if you've done it, it's very creepy. Anyways, continue.
So anyway, I hear this foot walk, the other foot scrape, and it kept going. I'm like, okay. In my regular self, I'm turning over the other side of the bed. I'm just going to turn over. I'm still asleep, but I'm still in tune and I'm still a part of this other dream.
Hmm.
Absolutely crazy. It's going to keep going. Whatever it is, it's going to walk by me, or whatever it is, this is going to go away. Well, it kept getting closer, it kept getting closer, and it kept getting closer. And then next thing you know, I was like, okay, whatever it is, it's going to observe and then just take off. That didn't happen. Whatever, I mean, I'll explain to what I saw in a second. It stopped right next to me, and I felt it. At this point, I was in sheer terror. It leaned. This is the honest God's truth. It leaned on top of me. This is the actual me, not in my dream part. It leaned on top of me, and it held me. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Me, not in the dream. Me. Nothing was hardly coming out.
So it was almost like a sleep paralysis, where you or paralyzed,
Yes.
where you just paralyzed. And again, I don't mean to cut you off, but there's actually a demon called the Jinn that is said to be
Before you say
that
that,
type of.
before you say that, if you know what it looks like, I want to describe what I saw, and then you can go from there. Okay?
Man, you can describe what you saw, and then everyone listening, I actually have. Yeah, go ahead, because I got a picture of it. So if you describe it like that, and nobody's seen it, so I'll post it
Yeah.
if you say it.
Okay. Definitely, that would be awesome. So this thing grabs a hold of me. I am screaming at the top of my lungs, and I'm yelling for Nick. And I'm awake. I am yelling for Nick, and nothing is coming out. And I'm not kidding you. I'm crying, and I am screaming at the top of my lungs for him. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs for help. I'm awake now, and it was past Nick. I am full awake now, and I am screaming at the top of my lung for my sister, who we have a house together. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs for my sister. Nothing is coming out. And I was in complete sheer panic. And from what I saw of whatever this thing was, it didn't have a face. It was black. There was no features. There was no nothing. It was just black.
Hmm.
And I saw a gray cape top over it. And the hand, I didn't see a hand. I just saw like the gray sleeve. That was all I saw, but I felt it. And I do not wish that upon anybody in the whole, not even my worst enemy do I wish that upon anybody, because it was the most terrifying experience that I've ever had in my life. And I'm sure it was within seconds, but to me, it felt like eternity,
Yeah.
but then it was gone. I was sitting up. This was only like 3 months ago. I was sitting up. I started crying. I was trying to breathe. My throat hurt because I was trying to scream so freaking loud that it hurt my throat because I couldn't get anything out. But I mean, that was the most terrifying experience I'd ever had. Whether it be paranormal or whatever you possibly could call that, that was frightening. And like I said, I've seen that happen to people on TV, and I'm like, oh, that's, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I will say I was an naysayer to that. And it happened to me. And like I said, it was completely terrifying. Absolutely 100% terrifying.
Interesting. So this was. I really don't know what to say about that. Like I want to keep talking about the demonic situation because I'm really fascinated about the darker side of the paranormal.
I can tell Ouija board.
That's all. Yeah, that's it. Ouija. That's it. Um, so yeah, I mean, would you ever be up for going into a location that you know is dark and scary after experiencing something like that? Would you be willing to know that the place is just really totally effed up and you have potential to be harmed? Would you go in
Yes, 100%.
and knowing what you know
Yes, I
about
would.
how scary and dark it could be? Man, that's crazy that you said you had that because the other night, the past 3 nights, I'm gonna try to not drag on about this story, but I'm going to Willow's Weep up in Indiana in the next week, right? And Amy told me, the paranormal investigator, Amy Joe, she
Yes.
told me that a lot of people have weird, scary dreams. And this is going to lead into a question about for you. But a lot of people have weird, scary dreams when it comes to that place, knowing they're going to get there. Now, I told her before she told me that I've been having these crazy, weird nightmares for like 3 nights in a row. And the last night I had it was a couple nights ago, and I was, that feeling when you're kind of awake, you're kind of not, but you're not dreaming.
Yes.
Um, That's the state I was in. And I felt something like that's just something staring at me at the end of my bed. And now I didn't turn over or roll over, but I actually felt the energy of this thing walking at the end of the bed, turning and coming up from behind me. I didn't see it because I didn't want to roll over because I didn't want to actually see something. So I just felt it happening. And then I felt something on the back of my neck, just kind of touch, barely, just the energy. My whole neck like twitched and jumped up. And that was the scariest thing I probably ever experienced to like as of recent.
Well, you open yourself up when it comes to the using your Ouija board. I mean, you open yourself up to that. Anything, when it comes to that, anything can come through that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't surprise me if something like that happened, good or bad, if that was good or bad intentions from that spirit.
It didn't feel
But
good. It didn't feel good. I actually felt threatened. Like I felt threatened. How you kind of said when you were paralyzed a little bit, like it was holding you down. That's
yeah,
almost kind of how I felt. But I know that the entity wasn't holding me down. It was at the end of my bed. But I still felt paralyzed.
yeah, that was the worst feeling ever, knowing that this thing, you could feel it wrapped around me and I could not move.
Mm.
I could not speak, couldn't say anything. And it was just, it hasn't happened since. I haven't even had a nightmare since then. Everything I have bizarre dreams that are good dreams, but they're like really out there.
How long ago was this?
This was 3 months ago that happened to me.
Okay.
And I mean, but like on your question, what you said is, would I ever go into a place knowing that it's dark spirits that could possibly harm you? I would go in a heartbeat.
Would you provoke just to get would you provoke to even get evidence, or do you more or less just kind of go with the flow? And I know a lot of people they can go in with a plan, but that can change, man, depending on how the spirits are going to interact with you. That plan could just change.
Very true. And it depends on the location. It depends on if you got something there that messes with women, or if you got something there that, does evil things to people. Yeah, I'm going to provoke.
Hmm.
I want to get its attention. If it's going to harm people or females, like some locations will mess with women. I'm not saying that, to be sexist or anything like that, because they mess with everybody, but certain locations will mess with women.
Well, they do.
You
Yeah.
know,
Like
and
jails will, because I mean, if their spirits all men and they're used to seeing men, they see a woman, they're gonna mess with it.
yeah,
All
I'm
right.
going to provoke. I'm definitely going to do that. Whatever my surrounding is, I'm going to be in tune to that surrounding. If it's not a place where I feel like there's something like that, then no, I won't provoke. But yeah, I would definitely go into a place that I know has dark spirits that could possibly do all sorts of stuff. I'm all for it because I want the evidence. I want it. I want to get it out there. I want answers, just like everybody else.
And that's exactly how I am too. I know a lot of investigators, they frown upon what I do by wanting to do the darker side of things and the Ouija board and dripping blood over a Ouija board and blah blah blah. A lot of people frown about that, but I think in investigating, you got to take the good and with the bad. You know what I mean? You
You
can't
have
you
to.
can't go with the yin and not take the yang. You can't do the light, not the dark. You got to be able to experience both worlds to really show some validation.
You have to be universal when it comes to the paranormal field. You have to be open for anything.
You do, yeah.
You do, and because there's no guarantee when you walk into a place that it's a good spirit. There's no guarantee of that.
No,
Whether you mess with a Ouija board or not, there's
no,
no guarantee that that spirit is good or not. You
not at
don't
all.
know.
Because you can't see the vessel they're walking around in. You could see us because we're walking around in our human form, so you can kind of get a vibe at least. But with this, you're going in blind every time.
Every time.
That's
And you don't know how a certain person might have died. You don't know what they may have been through in their life. When they're dead, you don't know that person. You
Yep.
don't know what energy could be there. You have to have an open mind in every investigation.
Now, do you believe this is I kind of believe in this. Now, do you believe, say I have attachments to me, right? Now, right now we're talking over the radio. Through any electronics, they can travel. I do believe they can travel. So that's kind of where my question is going with this. Everybody tuning in right now, do you believe that my entities right now could attach to this computer and just travel through the wavelengths and travel through whatever it does to maybe come see you or come to see anybody else listening right now and just attach themselves to you, Brock?
Yes and no. I'm really a firm believer. Yes, I'm a firm believer. Like you and I had that conversation, as far as that when you were on the radio, when I had disagreed with you as far as the wave frequencies compared to energies and different dimensions. Yes and no. Do I agree with that? But I don't have enough. Uh, how do I say it? I'm trying to think, the right way to say it. I
Take your
believe
time.
to a, I believe to a point they can. Maybe certain entities can, but I think overall, I think they're more of energy of where they're at and their surroundings. But yes, I feel like they can attach to. I don't know. Let me just put it that way. As far as like you and I talking right now, if they can come through or not, that I don't know. I don't really have enough research on that part per se to know if they can come through, the computer, us talking, through the frequencies like that. Maybe. I'm not gonna say no
Hmm.
because I really truly believe anything could be possible.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, and we really don't know. I mean, I know your buddies, the Ghost Adventures crew. Remember they tried to do that episode when they were at the Winchester Mansion and then the Winchester House, and then they had the other crew at Bobby Mackey's and the other team, the Constantinos. God rest their soul, that they
Yeah.
were sitting there. And do you remember that? Did you see that episode? Right,
Yeah.
they tried to get him to come through, and Aaron, I believe, got kind of semi possessed from the entities at Bobby Mackey's.
Bobby Mackey's, I believe, is 100% haunted. I truly believe that without a doubt. Not even saying because Ghost Adventures went there.
Hmm.
I believe in general that place is 100% legitimate haunted.
Every
Um,
team that goes there says it is too. So it's not even like just a gimmick.
as far as, like God rest her soul, Debbie, when I would speak to her, I'd probe her, I'd ask her questions, as far as like Bobby Mackey or when you went to Alcatraz or this or that. I mean, we talked all the time when I asked her about that. And she, said, without a doubt too, she looked right at me and said, 100% that place is absolutely creepy. She even said she would never go back there. Said it,
Hello? Hello, hello, hello. You there, bro?
yeah.
Okay,
Can
cool.
you, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, you just cut out for a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I accidentally hit this button. Sorry.
It's cool.
When I would talk with Debbie, um, I would ask her about Bobby Mackey's, and I valued her opinion in the paranormal field. And like she had said, I have never been there, but when asking her, and when her to say that she would never go back there, that says a lot because this woman would go anywhere. She did not care one bit. She would take any investigation to go there to get the answers. But for her to say she would not go back to Bobby Mackey's, to me, she said that. Um,
Personally to you.
personally, personally to
Nice.
me, she would say, there is no way you can get me to go back there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I was joking with her. I said, what if somebody wanted to give you $1 million, Deb? She was like, no. She's like, there's no way. She goes, I will not step foot in that place ever again. For somebody to turn down $1 million, if somebody offered her $1 million per se, not saying somebody did,
Yeah,
but she,
yeah.
I asked her that and she looked at me with a straight face and was like, no. And to me, that says a lot because I value her opinion for what she gave to the paranormal world.
Nice.
But, but what you had said a minute ago, I want to touch on that for as far as the Winchester house. Um, I went there in September when I got sent to San Jose for work. Um, that was on my bucket list. I was going to the Winchester house. So we're walking around at the Winchester house outside, me and one of my coworkers, and I looked up. Actually, it was him. He is, I don't know. I've never asked him if he's into the paranormal or not, but he looked up and he saw the window and he goes, is there somebody standing there? And I was like, man, it looks like there is somebody there. And I was like, I'm just going to take a picture just to take a picture. So I took a picture and there's this very faded white dress and you could see the outline of like a head, almost like a silhouette. Well, when we went inside to where this picture was taken outside to where this area was inside, there's no floor. That was the crazy part about that. It got messed up in the 1908 earthquake.
Oh,
She never had it finished. That
so,
whole part of that house, she left it at 1908 the way it was,
so this entity was just
floating.
floating in the air.
And I actually have a picture of it, and I'll be more than happy to share it with you.
Yeah, you should
Um,
definitely.
yeah, it's phenomenal because you could see it, and it's as plain as day. And I'm like, wow, because I didn't see it at first until he pointed up, and I looked up and I saw it. But when you go inside, there's no floor whatsoever in this part of the house. Well, we're walking around inside the Winchester house, and we're staying in this one spot down in the laundry room. I'm standing there, and my friend that had pointed out the window, he came with his wife. His wife showed up with their child. So I'm standing there listening to the tour guide, and I felt a hand like gently, like real soft, like innocent, no harm,
Yeah, yeah.
like 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 scrape across my arm. And I was like, "What in the hell?" I said, "Oh, maybe his son's over by me," thinking maybe he wanted to come over by me, and he's up on his shoulders. And I was just like, "Wow!" I said, "That was awesome." I don't know what that was, but something had like scraped against my arm like that. Phenomenal. I was like, yes, it's everything I'd hoped for. I love the Winchester House. So to have an experience like that was awesome. That was just I wanted to touch on that because you had mentioned the Winchester House.
Yeah.
But if you've never been there, phenomenal. You have to go there. It's a great place.
And they actually just opened up, I believe, overnight investigations.
Yeah, you
Not
can do
long
the
ago.
flashlight tour.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I didn't do that because we had him with us, the little kid. You can't have kids with you on the flashlight tour,
mhm.
so we ended up doing the day tour, which was fine because I still had an experience, which I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah, and dude, that's another thing about spirits, man. A lot of people are like, "Well, you got to go at nighttime. You got to do this." They're active during the day too. See, I think people just investigate at nighttime because you have no interference with the sunlight reflecting off a million things. I know the moon and everything has stuff to do with it as well, but my main thing is I've captured a lot of evidence during the day. I just posted a video not too long ago, like yesterday, I think, or today actually, of the spirit box picking up Timothy. Let's go at in Casadega, dude. Yeah, talk about Casadega. That's one thing we didn't talk about because I know you said you went to.
Definitely, yes.
So yeah, explain to everybody Casadega, the Casadega, Florida. Real quick though, for everybody tuning in right now, here on KHTA, I'm here with Brock Morin, who is the founder of ParanormalDepot.com and co-founder of Sin City Paranormal Research out in Vegas.
That's right,
So
Las Vegas.
yeah, Las Vegas. So we kind of just touched a lot of subjects. I really hope everybody was tuned in and listening because so far it's been really amazing. I've loved this show. But yeah, right now we're just going to discuss Casadega, Florida. We have both been there, so I'm kind of excited to hear what Brock has to say about this.
Casadega, Florida. Actually, I'm originally from Florida, and I'm really from a town over for where Steven lives now, which is really bizarre because we were half an hour apart. Um, Casadega, Florida is on the other coast where we're from. It's a medium town where only mediums and psychics live. And they have little signs outside their house saying if they're doing readings or not. It's really a neat little town. And I would really suggest anybody that lives in Florida, or if you get a chance, go visit Casadega.
It is. Yep. It's a whole
It's
spiritual town. The whole town's spiritual.
no,
It's just,
yeah,
it's
the
insane.
whole town. The whole town is you have to be a medium or a psychic or something to live in the town.
Mhm.
But my experience, and I know Steven has been there as well, as far as the hotel. Um, I didn't explain this. I didn't share this part, the first part of it, when I was with Steve, or when I talked to Steven about this. But I had took my mother there one day. We both wanted to get readings. We were going to just go out for the day, and this was my very first time ever going there. At this point, and we're downstairs, and I had never, like I said, I had never been there before. And we're sitting there, we're going to get lunch, and we're waiting for the lady to come over and give us our menus. And I said, Mom, this looks like it used to be like a ballroom. You could picture like a piano over there,
Yeah.
people dancing and having a good time. And like I said, I'm not psychic, I'm not medium whatsoever. I want to put that out there. Um, to make a long story short on that part, they brought us our menus, and on the front cover, on the front of the menu is a picture of it used to being a ballroom, and there was a piano, which I thought was phenomenal. I was like, wow, I just sensed it.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom goes off to do a reading after we had lunch, and I decided I was going to walk around upstairs, through the hallways, because this is a super extremely history enriched building. I think it did burn down at one point, but I think they rebuilt it, like in the 20s or something like that.
Yeah, part of it did burn down. So part of it's original and part of it's not, but it's all old regardless. I mean,
Regardless, yeah, it's old. So I'm not even there to do a paranormal investigation. I'm just walking around because I love the history and I love the Wild West type setting. So I'm on a floor and I'm just walking. And in front of me, there comes a four-way between the halls. And I see this lady right in front of me. She's wearing a red Victorian dress. This time it was as plain as you and me. She's wearing a red Victorian dress. She had blonde hair. She had blue eyes. She was carrying one of those little fans. She had one of those little bonnet things or something in her hair.
hmm.
She looks at me and smiles, and she nods her head, and she keeps walking straight. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of bizarre, seeing her dressed like that. I was like, it caught me off guard.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, that's a little bizarre. So I was only seconds away from that four-way to where it was. And when I got there, There was actually nowhere for this woman to go. There was a window, and there was a janitor's closet on that end. There was like nowhere to go. And I'm looking around like, wait a minute. I'm like, no. I'm like, this can't be. And I was like trying to find every explanation, like there's got to be a set of stairs, or maybe there was another door to a room, but there was nothing. And to this day, I mean, to see what I saw right in front of me, this woman in this old Victorian style dress, beautiful, blonde hair, blue eyes, like I said, with that little fan, she walked straight across, and there was nowhere for her to go.
Hmm.
And I was only seconds away from turning to where, if she closed the door, it was going into the door, I would have saw
Yeah.
it. That's how close I was to that four-way. To say if it was paranormal or not, I can't say for sure, but wherever she went, there was nowhere for her to go. So it was a great experience. I absolutely loved it. Um, Phenomenal. I will take it as paranormal because that's what I love to do. But like I said, I tried to debunk it. And there was a janitor's closet and a window. There was no doors to rooms or anything on that side of the hall.
That's yeah, yeah.
So,
And I know, like, if anybody else has been to Casa de Dega or hasn't, when you walk in, it's not a big hotel at all. It looks big, but when you walk in, it's really not.
yeah, true.
There's just a lot of halls. So I do know when you walk upstairs, you get all the way up, you're standing at the hallway. If you take a left, there's a picture actually. I don't know how long ago it was when you went, but I know there was a picture of a woman that's drawn there, and that's explaining exactly what you saw. And a lot of people have said they see that what you just saw within the area you've seen them in. So,
I'm not sure. I went there I think it was 2010
oh yeah,
when I,
yeah. That was way before I did.
yeah, I was there in 2010, and I don't remember the picture. I wish I would have now because that would have really like validated a lot of stuff. But I wish I would have saw that. But to see her, I saw her as plain as you and I if we were standing in front of each other.
Hmm.
That's how clear she was. I mean, it wasn't like a figure of a ghost. It was a person. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, nice. I was like, wow, she's beautiful. That's my first thought when I saw her. I was like, man, she's beautiful. And then when I got up to that four-way, and I'm like, wait a second, because I wanted to get another glimpse of her. There was nothing. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
That's wild. Yeah, that's wild.
That was insane. That was the best, I have to say, my favorite, you know, experience when it comes to the paranormal world because there was nowhere for this person to go. That's what I loved about it. There was a window and a janitor's closet. That was it.
Mm.
And I don't think she was going to go just to run and hide in the janitor's closet. So it was a great experience. It caught me off guard and I loved it. I wasn't scared by it. And I just thought it was a great experience.
It is. And when I was there and doing the investigation, that was actually the first place I went as when my team first started to go investigate somewhere. And it was amazing. We stayed in one of the hallways in the back where two little girls happened to die. And I believe it was in the fire. I could be wrong. I do not know, but I know two little girls haunted that hallway. Now, we got a little ball and we put a ball, just a little dollar store ball that you can bounce and roll around, you know?
Mhm.
And we set up a camera. We put on the corners, like in the side of these hallways, there was a lot of crystals, you know, because there's a lot of mediums that actually live within the hotel.
Oh, yeah,
So
definitely.
there was crystals everywhere. So we were like, well, let's set up a camera. We want the ball to roll, but we put crystals in front of the ball to keep it so it wouldn't roll. So then we went downstairs. We were the only ones in the hotel. We made sure of it. We had the hotel to ourselves. That was just the agreement that we had. There was actually no mediums, nobody in the hotel. And anyways, we went outside to the porch, and they give you a key to the hotel. So we went outside to the porch, and it was just me and my buddy standing there at the time, and we heard a hey with our own two ears from a little girl. We both looked at each other, turned around. Right there made me the greatest. Now, I had experiences growing up as a kid, but that right there made it, okay, I'm hooked for life. You know,
Oh, yeah.
that hotel made me hooked. And when we ran back upstairs, well, not ran, but we went back upstairs, the ball was actually moved a good 5 to 6 feet over the crystals, and the crystals were scattered. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, extremely nice. So I'm actually gonna have to find the video to that because I have it on one of the cameras. I've just had so much, I haven't uploaded everything. So I actually do have that on video, and it's crazy to see the ball actually does roll and move over over the crystals, and with enough pressure to cause these crystals to move.
I have to say this though, if any paranormal team that's out there listening, if you get the opportunity to go to Casadega, Florida, you have to go. You
Yeah,
have you have to.
and even if you don't capture anything, the feeling there is so different than anywhere else. It's the whole
It,
town's spiritual. It's insane.
it's absolutely crazy insane as far as what you feel because everywhere you go, when you walk by these houses and all these shops,
Hmm.
something is around you. You feel it.
You do.
And you do. I mean, it's like you and I have both been there, so we're on the same page when it comes to that. And when you go into that hotel, you're in a whole nother ball game. I'm not saying it's a bad entity or spirit or whatever, but there's a feeling there. There is so many that are there. It's an amazing experience, and it's something to really check out for yourself if any of the paranormal teams are listening.
And they have the cemetery there as well, where the Devil's Chair is located.
I remember you saying that, and I wish I would have known at the time because I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, you can literally walk there. I posted a video today on my page being at the Devil's Chair, and that I did. That was my second time visiting. The first time I went to Casadega, where the ball rolled over, I actually went there during the day to the Devil's Chair and did a spirit box session. This was before I had no idea what I was even doing with spirit boxes or anything, right?
Mhm.
And sitting there, and this is on YouTube. People can go and check it out. And you hear it say, "Who's in front of the Devil's Chair?" Are two tombstones that say Thatcher, and we say, "Who's with us right now?" or something, and you hear it say Thatcher right over the spirit box. And it was insane. You hear it say, "Watch your back" over the spirit box. You just hear it really saying validation, and it was insane to have during the day. So yeah, if you should have checked it out. Like it's literally you could walk there from the hotel.
Man, I wish I would have known about that because you know me, I would have been there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of a time when I did way before my team that I have here out in Vegas, when I was up in Michigan, um, when I was into the paranormal, I went up there to visit after my father had died and everything. And there's this town called Tecumseh, Michigan. Well, there's this grave site and there's a witch that's almost the same along the same lines of what you're talking about. There's a witch's chair that's in concrete that they put in concrete at her grave. And supposedly, if you sit in it, somebody, either you or some of your family, is going to die.
Oh, that's
Um,
intense.
no, it was really intense. Um, but me, of course, I was young and I was into the paranormal. I sat in it. I did. My father, he had just died recently from that.
Hmm.
Um, and I sat in it, and I was so blown away if it was even true or not. But I mean, it had the lady's name on the grave, this chair like in cement right next to it, and it talks about how she was a witch, she was burned and blah blah blah. And they said on the tombstone, rumor has it, if you sit in his chair, blah blah blah. I did it anyway. I guess I could have been stupid, but I still did it
Yeah.
because I wanted that experience. I wanted that thrill of doing something like that, to see something like that as a part of history of somebody that could potentially have been a real witch, whether she was good or bad or whatever. To me, I thought that was just phenomenal, though, and I took the chance and I did it. Nothing happened. Nobody in my family died. Of course, I'm still here,
Yeah.
but it was pretty neat. But I wish I would have seen that, and because I definitely would have went to it when I was there in Casadega, 100%. I would have been there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, dude, yeah, and um, yeah, the chair, the whole Casadega thing. I'm thinking about it right now, and I'd love to go back. I really would. I would love to go back. To especially with the knowledge that I have now within the paranormal and the insight and the experience and more equipment. I would love to go back and just set it up, but there's so many other locations that I got booked, and it's just hard to get around to doing it.
Oh, definitely. And there are some other places outside of Casadega, like in Daytona, that are supposedly have paranormal activity that does happen to them. I mean, if when I get back to Florida or whatever, if you happen to be back there or visiting, or if you're moving, like you said, or whatever, we would definitely go and check that out. I mean, that
Oh
would
yeah,
be,
yeah. We'll just run Florida all together.
yeah. I mean, there's so much in Florida to go to. It would be unreal.
Hmm. Well, I think we're gonna kind of touch to wrap this whole entire interview up.
Let me just touch on one. There was one question that one of the people asked that we didn't touch on.
Which was it?
I do want to answer her question. She asked me if I believe in orbs in old abandoned buildings. Um, there was a time I did an investigation in Ohio, and it was at this old abandoned orphanage, and it was really creepy. This place was completely boarded up, and it was from like 1850. Uh, it was in the middle of a residential area. It was all the grass was dead, all the trees were dead, but everything else was completely beautiful. And she asked me if I believed in like lights and orbs and stuff like that, or like glowing lights. I
Yeah,
think her question was glowing lights.
glowing,
Um,
yep, glowing lights.
yeah, I saw this, and my friend that was with me at the time, we saw this, and we couldn't get inside the building, and I didn't want to break in because I didn't want to do anything about breaking the law. So we went around the building, and I'll have to find the videotape as well. But there are glowing lights that'll start on one side of the wooden part of the window that's boarded up, and you'll see it move over to the other side, and you'll see it move back to the other side.
Oh wow.
And it was happening all different floors. Like this place had been closed down for well over 100 years, and it was still sitting there. And you could see all these glowing lights all over the place. And to answer her question, yes, I truly do believe 100% in glowing lights. All about that. I saw it firsthand, and I know there was nobody in there. I was there 6 hours. That's how much I know. I was there 6 hours on the outside of this building, just looking around, videotaping, looking up, trying to find. Actually, I was trying to find a way in, but I didn't want to break the law, so I eventually gave up. But I stayed on the outside of it. But I saw all these glowing lights all over the place, and there was no electricity to this place. So to answer her question, yes, I truly believe in glowing lights in an old abandoned building.
Would those lights,
100%.
would those lights though be? You think those lights would be orbs? Like, what exactly would they be?
Uh, from what I saw with my own eyes, it was a glowing light, and it was almost like a yellowish glowing light. It wasn't green or orange. It was a yellowish, and it started on one side of the boarded up window. You could see it through the crack,
Hmm.
and then it would zip over to the other side, and then it would zip back. I mean, it was playing like back and
So,
forth, back and
so like energy. Linda on chat just said energy.
energy, and I believe that because I saw it with my own eyes. To think, okay, what could be possibly causing all these glowing lights all over the place? Energy,
Yeah.
spirits. There's kids that live there. There's kids that died there. I mean, there's some kids that probably lived there until they were 18 before they were sent out on their own.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, these glowing lights, I saw it with my own eyes, and I know there was nobody in there. So I truly believe 100%. I do believe in that. I just wanted to touch base with that because she did ask that, and out of respect for her, I wanted to at least throw that in there to answer that question
Yeah,
for
no,
her.
yeah, no, good call on doing that because yeah, I know we talked about it a lot and kind of cutting each other off and it was just getting in the zone with it all. So no, yeah, I'm glad you went back to that question. So yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, I mean, I guess we can wrap it up unless there's something else you want to talk about. I'll sit here for 18 hours straight and just talk. But
Oh, that's the way I am too. But I mean, I know you got stuff to do, and I do too. But just the opportunity to be able to talk to you about the paranormal, and like I said, with my website, um, all the teams out there that are wanting to join, please feel free. I would love to add you. We still have spots, many spots open. I would never deny anybody. I want to help you get your team exposed out there to give you more exposure. Not exposed as in fake. I take that back. I meant exposure to get you out there to help you. That way, get you more clients. Get you more potential leads to investigate. Because I know we're all chasing the same thing,
mhm.
and I know we all just want answers. So I'm here to help. Everybody. That way, we can all do this together.
And again, that's for authors, authors, radio shows, mediums, psychics, investigators, people that sell stuff over. Like it's basically anything paranormal related that can fit into a category.
Anything paranormal, I'd love to put you on the website. That way I can help you promote whatever it is you have, or a team or a medium, to give you more exposure to help you. I'm here for you, and I want to do the best I can. I go to blogs, I go to different chat rooms, I go to different places looking for people that might need help, and I'll look for teams that are in that area, or I will mention a team in that blog. I do whatever I can to help people to get, to reach that goal that we
Yeah,
can all get
and
investigations.
and that's para unity right there. That's at its finest.
It
And
is.
and
And
you're doing that's
I love everybody that's involved in it, and I care about people in general, and I will never hold anybody down or disrespect anybody if they have evidence that they feel is paranormal. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to help them. I'm going to be there for them. I'm going to be there to help everybody I possibly can. If you got a team and I add you, I'm going to do whatever I can to help you succeed even more than you are,
Yeah.
to help you get more investigations, because we're all chasing the same thing, and I want to help you get that. There's no such thing as greed, envy, or anything like that. We all want the same thing.
Yeah, and I agree. That's awesome how you worded it perfectly. I want you to know, everybody in chat, Linda, Colleen, Darby, all the other ones that have left, they're all saying how amazing you are. They loved the interview. They loved everything you had to say, and just how great you are. So I wanted you to know that, because I don't know if you're in chat looking at these.
No, I didn't know you even had chat.
Yeah, there's a chat. Yeah, I try not to tell like the guests, because I don't want them distracted, just typing on the keyboard the whole time and not like doing the interview. So,
Well, I do appreciate you having me. And like I said, you and I, we're both in the paranormal world just like everybody else. And if there's anything I can do to help anybody, I'll be more than happy to help them, and I will be there for them. Like I said, if you want to sign up to my website, it's free. I will put you on the map and do what I can to help you. And we're all going to do it together, and let's make it happen.
there you go. And again, that's paranormaldepot.com. Did you want to give away any other social media links or sites or anything for them to be able to contact you on?
No, they can either do that, or they can contact me on Facebook. I have the Paranormal Depot on Facebook. They can email me at paranormaldepot@hotmail.com. Anybody that wants to get in touch with me or has any questions or wants to be added, I'll be more than glad to help you or add you or do whatever I can to help you succeed even further.
Boom. There we go. All right. So with that being said, we're kind of going to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. As always, like without the viewers and the listeners and the support and the friends, the fans, the followers, however you want to kind of label yourself within this. If it wasn't for you all, then none of this would be possible. The paranormal wouldn't even be possible.
Exactly.
Brock's movement wouldn't be possible. Mine wouldn't. KHTA wouldn't be possible. Nothing would be possible. So thank you for everybody who tuned in. Thank you, Brock. Thank you, Darby.
Thank you,
Colleen. You're welcome. Darby, Linda, Colleen for the questions, and Peggy as well. So yeah, with that said, I'm going to say goodnight, and we'll definitely do a part 2, in a few more months.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
Let me know.
Get some more investigations going and everything. We'll just touch base and do this all over again.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you for having me, Steven.
All right. You're welcome. Have a good night, Brock.
All right. You too.
All right.
Bye.
Night, everyone.